See, when you're doing it with me, bro, they don't know if that's smoke or incense. I got the martial arts weapons behind
I'd
me.
be like, is Afro smoking incense?
Right, exactly. What's going on right now? Yo, 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 we live. Hey, welcome to the Rap is a Martial Arts show brought to you by the Rap is a Martial Arts store. If you're looking for hip hop and martial arts inspired fashion like this, go to rapismartialart.com/store and we got a special discount code, KICK15. You can check it out. But more importantly than that, as you can see right now, we've got an amazing guest here, known as one of the best lyricists in this new era of hip hop. I would venture to say one of the most skilled of all time.
Pleasure.
Discovered,
Thank
yes,
you.
yeah,
Pleasure.
yeah. We keep it real here. Discovered by the legendary R.A. the Rugged Man. So, man, Afro, man, a little of a round of applause. You know what I'm
Peace,
saying?
peace, peace,
Yeah, bro.
peace,
It's a
everybody.
it's an honor to have you here, man. For me, rap is like a martial art, man, as you know. So I go by that. And man, you're one of the rising masters that will surely probably be a grandmaster, and you probably already have that level of skill, bro. So, it's an honor, bro, to have you.
Thank
And
you,
I'm
brother.
excited.
Thank you,
All
brother.
right. So just a little bit, man. We're gonna jump in, man. So I got some questions for you, man. See,
Sure.
and then also we're gonna have a round of just questions that are gonna pop up in the chat. You know what I'm saying? And
Okay, cool,
and
cool.
uh, and then we're both gonna kind of answer that. And any questions you got, whatever, we'll go back and forth. So first off, man, how the heck are you doing, man? It's the apocalypse out here, bro. You got a
Yeah, man.
pandemic, people dying, the
Yeah.
whole revolt, like it's crazy. How are you doing and how are you processing it, bro?
Right now, I'm just I'm making sure my family's okay, making sure my family's healthy, and I'm staying in creative mode. I'm always working on something, so that keeps me focused. It keeps me in
Yeah.
just the right path. So creative mode definitely helps mentally and all that.
Yeah.
So I'm always working on some music, movie stuff. I'm just a nerd, so
Yeah.
I'm always working on something.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Appreciate it. So you've been good just processing it well, you're just staying focused,
Yeah,
man. That's
yeah,
what's up,
yeah.
man. That's what's up. This is a great time to stay focused and creative. One of the things I wanted to ask you, man, before we jump in, man, I don't know how much you've talked about this, man, but I really I appreciate you as an artist, but behind every artist is like there's a person, you know what I'm saying? There's a
Right,
story, you know
right.
what I'm saying? And I think relationships are the best thing that we have on this earth, man. So just to share a little bit, man, like if you were to paint a picture, like a movie of you as a kid growing up, man, like just a little bit about your childhood, and then I got some more artist related, but I'm just interested, man, like what was that like for you, bro?
Well, it was cool. It was like I grew up in I'm still in Cali, but I grew up in
Yeah.
Cali, and I'm in a little town called Bellflower. And
Mm.
Bellflower was always right down the middle. It was nice, but ghetto, but nice too. So
Yeah.
I never got in too much trouble because I was always the nerd in school. I was always the
Mm.
keep to himself kind of. I was cool with anybody who was cool with me. I'm cool, but it just like I was just kind of the quiet kid.
Yeah.
So in school, I was just always focused, focused on the music then, and I had a few homies and a couple homies, and some of them I still know to this day. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was cool. I didn't have a rough upbringing, it wasn't rough as other people could be.
Right.
So yeah, I'm blessed for that, man. I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, man, I think that's one of the cool things. I'm so glad you shared that. Even as I think about hip hop and martial arts, it's like it takes a lot of discipline and a lot of sacrifices to become good at your craft. And a lot of times you see people kind of talk about hip. You just kind of imagine this dude is just never working, never doing anything, just whatever, just rough upbringing. It's like, nah. Everybody who's good at anything has had to be disciplined. Most
Right,
rappers that are incredible are nerds at their craft. If they're not
right,
in,
right.
if they're not in general, they are at their craft. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you sharing that, man. People looking up to you like, man, I want to be like that. It's like, well, you got to work hard. Like, there's no, there's no, there's
Yeah,
no, there's
yeah.
no way around it. You got to study with your craft. So
Yeah.
I appreciate that, bro. The thing I want to jump in because I know you love movies.
Right. Right.
And that's something that we share. So with the narrative of what's going on in this country, man, and if you got anything, you could throw back any questions you have too. But
Yeah. Sure.
with the narrative that you have that's going on in this world, man, what role do you think that movies play in this racism narrative? You know
Oh,
what I'm
okay.
saying?
Okay.
You
I can
know,
see that. I can see that.
like
Well, yeah, there's a lot of, we got white supremacist movies. We got all types of movies that have been made, but there's it's like there's certain music in movies too, with movies like it's almost like programming, as
right,
much as I love movies, for like a lot of different people, some people can take watching a movie differently than others, a majority were just like, oh, it's a movie. But there'll
right.
be that one or two or three people who take it a little too seriously, like and then just it can get crazy when it comes to certain like programming and broadcasting and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
with the racism stuff, just like almost pretty much anything, like if that movie or song is used for like the wrong way or something, there's somebody out there who could be like, that's right, I love that, and
right.
it can turn ugly.
Yeah, and one of the things too is just, one of the thoughts I've been having with movies is you said programming, people don't realize that it's like, reality educates film, but film also shapes reality. And so we all have the same images of people in our minds. You know what I'm saying? Because we've all seen the same movie. So if I tell you Italian guy from Jersey, somebody pops into your mind.
Right,
You know what I'm
Sopranos,
saying?
one of those
Yeah,
guys. Right,
exactly.
right,
If I tell
right.
you white rich guy, somebody pops up in your mind. If I go to Asia, if I go to China right now and I'm like black guy, something pops up in their mind. You know what I'm saying? And even if the movie is not about that, we're actually programming people, and that it's been used in movements and revolts as propaganda. Like you dehumanize somebody by making some ugly cartoon of them. And then you
Right.
continue to show them that way, and people see it that way.
There you go. There you
Yeah.
go.
And then
You broke
so
it down.
so it's like there's systematic issues, but there's also mindset issues that our films and our music have perpetuated. So when somebody sees a black man or an Asian man, there's an image that comes in the mind, and then you react to that. You know what
Wow.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so just as a movie buff, as a lyricist, as a creative, I feel like we actually have an opportunity to influence when we have that in the back of our mind. Like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
pictures I paint are actually pictures that are going to stay in people's minds. You know what I mean? So I just think that's kind of dope. I know you like movies, so I wanted to have your take on that,
and
bro.
and even with the music, like I'm really careful with what I say in my music, because if I just started talking about being with chicks, like all this and driving Mercedes and all, like driving like Lamborghinis, that wouldn't be me, because I don't do that.
Right.
But a lot of rappers, radio rappers and stuff like that, that's what they do. They rap about like car, like this and that, this and that. And hey, if that's what you do you.
Right.
But like I'm careful with what I rap about, because like I have a certain like kind of folks that like listen to my joints. They don't listen for the cars and the fly girls and all that. They listen for the rhymes and the other content. So what, like, yeah, you have to, we as artists, we do have to be aware of what we put in the music.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. What's your relationship with martial arts, Fro? Like, what's your thoughts about that? And how does that impact you as an artist?
I think martial arts is phenomenal. Like the films I grew up off of, you know, uh, off the top of my head, I could rattle some people off, but like,
Yeah.
like I'm gonna say, obviously, for a lot of us, Bruce Lee.
Yeah. Of
Bruce
course.
Lee. I think the first martial arts joint I might have watched was Enter the Dragon. That
Mm,
might have been the very first one I ever seen, and I remember just being like, "This is insane. I love it."
yeah.
And then I dug deep into Big Boss and all the other Bruce Lee joints, and I was
Yeah.
digging deep, and then yeah, it's like it was incredible, and there's so many different types of martial arts. You got Indonesian martial arts, you
Yeah.
got this, you got that. There's so many different categories. So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
One of the this is kind of like a secret. No, I shouldn't even let this question go out right now, but I'm gonna let people hear what you have to say, man. One of the amazing things about you stylistically, you know what I'm saying, as a rapper, for those who don't know, we got to collab, we got to work
Right.
together,
Yep. We got a
and
song.
we actually have two. I just haven't put the other one out. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Oh
We got
yeah, we
two.
got
There you
we got
go.
we
There you
got
go.
two.
Yep.
And I'm so COVID hit, man, before we could do a video. So I was really excited about that, but in time. But one of the things that really distinguishes you as a rapper is your flow. And also your continuous flow. Also, that's kind of in your name. All flows reach out. That's actually like a fact about you. Uh, so we got literal names. Our names are too literal, man. We might have to change them joints. But nah.
Maybe one day
One
keep
day,
it
right,
a little simpler, you know.
right. But yeah.
Yeah.
So all flows reach out, man. Tell us what you did to develop that flow, how you practice that flow. So again, in the realm of martial arts, almost like you practice a technique over and over, or your master teaches
Right.
you, or whatever. So how did you literally practice that? Like, what were your training techniques? Is this is a martial arts film? What did you do? And also, what would you say is a secret for you of continuing that flow? Which
Okay.
it, yeah, you know,
Okay. Hang off the top of my head. What was I about to say?
yeah. Take your time, bro. If you need to think about it for a second.
It was yeah, so when it comes to when it comes to creating the flow and formatting it and just like putting my own twist to it, I think of my favorite guys.
Mm,
Like I think of like the Doom and Jizzin, Pharoah Monch and
mm,
Rakim and Cool G Rap. All these guys I look up to. It's like studying. I think
right,
RA said this to me one time a minute ago. He was like, yo, when John Coltrane wanted to study his jazz and all that, he would go to the clubs and go see the ones before him, like the legends at that time already. And it's like that's how I've always been, like when I was younger, researching all these MCs and studying their flows, studying their patterns, their schemes, and just it's pretty much just putting it into my own thing,
flavor.
right?
Yeah,
It's like I'm inspired by them because certain verses you can hear, like some fans will hit me, they'll be like, "Yo, that gave me like a Rakim vibe."
right.
I was going for
Yeah,
that.
I was
Cool,
going for that. Yeah,
right,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
right. So
Right,
cool, you cool. So yeah, it's like it's just putting your own twist into it, and with the continuous flow. It's just like you said, it's just continuous. You're like, all right, like no breaks, no breaks, just like see, and not all my verses are like that, but the
right,
majority ones, like the more like up tempo or like more intense ones and stuff,
right,
it's like a continuous thing. You just like it's like you got to keep going and going and going. I write more lyrics than I'm supposed to when it comes to those type of joints, so I can
right,
be like, all right, where do I stop? All right, we're cool. Where do I stop? Cool.
right.
Yeah.
Do you ever get the comment of like, all right, like we know what you're gonna do. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Have you ever gotten that comment like where it's like, okay, you're gonna do it's amazing. We almost like you're a gymnast who does like a triple backflip, and you see it like three times and you're like, yo, that's dope. And then you're like, okay, triple backflip.
Right.
Have you ever gotten that? I just some of the rappers that
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I've gotten it once or twice, but that's what my trick is to I try to be as versatile as I can. I try to be like
right,
I try to switch it up and be out of the box, but as long as I keep that afro, as long as I keep that
right,
that fro flavor and that vibe. So I've been noticing like on my album coming up and all these like projects I've been working on the side, the new stuff I've been working on, it's like I just been trying to figure out different ways I can make a song so it's not the same format every time
right.
because I listened to my album years ago. I was just okay, that's it's dope, but it's like almost every format, every song. So I
Right.
had to go back and like, all right, let me amp it up, let me put some skits, interludes, let me do this, like let me just make
Mm,
it sound like a movie, like let me make it sound like that
yeah.
instead of just like you said, where it's just like rhyming and rhyming and rhyming and rhyming. It's always great to it's always great to rhyme. That's one of my rules. It's like I have to rhyme on this joint.
Right.
Like I can't
Right.
be lazy on any joint.
Right. Right.
That's a strict rule to me. So
Yeah.
it's like yeah, yeah, it can't be lazy, and it's just yeah, it's like it's a mental state too. It's like
Yeah.
something that keeps pushing you. It's like all right,
Yeah. 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 For sure. I want to pull up. I had a couple more. Let me see. Personal things I wanted to run through real quick too. Um, let me Of the things that what do you think, man, just more personally for you, um, what would you say is the thing that you have seen as a person that's impacted you the most, both positively and negatively?
Wow. Positively, I'm a foster child.
Mm.
When I was my mom now, who's my mom forever, Martha, my mom, she saw me when I was 3 days old, and then it took 5 years for the adoption to finalize in the courts and all
Wow.
that. It took 5 years, so she fought for me for 5 years straight. And
That's a mom. That makes her mom. Word.
absolutely, absolutely. I don't know my biological, so they're
Yeah.
my biologicals, But
Right.
yeah, like as far as positively, she changed my life literally. So I always think I'm like, what could have happened? Like
Yeah.
I could have had a whole different life, like all types of stuff.
Yeah.
And positively that still affects me because a few years ago we stopped, but we started fostering kids,
Mm.
and started
Mm.
and started just taking care of them, like just like stranger kids, like they point to us, but they're like you grow attached to them, they become family. But
Totally.
then, the brutal part is they're in and out.
When they leave, when they have to go.
That's the
Yeah.
brutal part. It's really brutal. And the social worker is like, oh, he's only gonna be here for like 2 weeks, and then you
Hmm.
forget about it. You're like, oh, like it's a little
Right.
homie.
And
And
then you
then
gotta go.
you're like, damn, like those. So we stopped. We stopped because it was getting brutal. It's a brutal system when it comes to
Yeah.
fostering and stuff. It's really brutal. So yeah, yeah. As far as positively and negatively, I didn't go to too much crazy stuff like my boys did. A lot of my
Mm.
boys went through police brutality and
Hmm.
stuff like that. I'm thankful I didn't have to go to too many crazy things personally.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I have encountered racist cops, and obviously I'm sure we do once in a while. But
Right. Right. Right.
yeah, I'm grateful it wasn't too crazy for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure, man. Big ups to your mom, man. You know what I mean? That's amazing, bro. And even you guys fostering, as difficult as it was, I'm sure those kids probably remember that love,
Oh, it was
forever,
great.
man.
And I'm still in contact with a few of them. I think four. We fostered around like I'm gonna say 8 children in like 4 years, maybe, or something
Wow.
like that. And four of them I still have contact with somehow. I could still hit them up and be like, hey, what's going on? Like, so that's a cool
That's
thing.
that's dope, bro. That's dope, man. That's amazing, bro. Did you have anything, man? I got some more stuff, but did you have anything in
Yeah,
particular?
why not?
Um,
Let's see. If you could name one person who influenced you in martial arts?
who influenced me? Yeah, man, I think just one person. Oh, you narrowed that dad. You killed me there. One person.
Oh, Bruce.
Uh
Bruce.
Not, Bruce was definitely one, he was definitely one of
or
the first.
or top or five
Okay,
martial
okay.
something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, five martial artists who influenced you. Or
Yeah,
yeah,
there's all the very obvious ones. You start going Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, Jet
right,
Li,
right, right,
even Gordon Liu from the more old school kung
right,
fu movies.
right.
But man, to be honest, bro, the person who influenced me, inspired me the most, martial arts wise, was my teacher, my Sifu.
Nope.
His name was Sifu Taiyam. He's grandmaster of the Shaolin Hung Fut system, who was like a second dad to me a lot growing up. And I remember I loved Bruce Lee. I love Bruce Lee again now, but I'll put it this way: I loved Bruce Lee until I saw one of his forms, and then I forgot about Bruce Lee for like
One
for
of it.
like
One of his forms.
yeah, like I saw him perform a form, like a video of him when he was like 20 something. And it was so fast, bro. It literally looked like the closest thing to Dragon Ball Z I've ever seen. You know what I mean? Like I was like, yo, is this real? And then there was be times where he would slow down and stop, and you're like, hey, this isn't even sped up. Like you can't even, you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it was just abnormal, bro. And obviously being, growing up and having his influence, it's not even a movie star. It's like, although he did do some movies, it
The
was him,
person
man.
too. The person
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I had never seen anything like that. So until I left, became one of his disciples, and until I, their students and their disciples, and then until I left the school and different things, like for the longest time, it's like I forgot about Bruce Lee for like most of my coming up, because I was like, forget Bruce. I'm trying to be like this. But obviously Bruce is Bruce.
Yeah,
Um,
Bruce was so fast that they had to slow down the cameras, or they had to be
right.
like, "Oh, can you slow that down, Bruce?" Like,
Yeah.
like that's how fast he was.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah. So it's yeah, so I love martial arts, man. So and I think even rap wise, I tend to think of martial artists.
Dope,
You know what I mean?
dope.
Like in my
That was
mind.
that
Go
was
ahead.
another question I have for you. Like, which MCs and do you have any MCs that influence you, or were like, yo, like that's dope. Like, I'd love to do my own twist on that or something.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's funny. I think one of the reasons I was excited to collaborate with you, and also with even I'll say this too, like Corey Guns, because it was who's that's my brother, man. We uh it's like we had a lot of the same influences, and I could hear that. Like you like Coogee rap, he does too, but it's like we both of our favorite rappers are pun, you know what I mean? And you
Oh,
can
there you
hear,
go. Yeah, there
yeah, and
you
that's
go.
that's that's the same family. It's almost like you're looking at somebody who you can pick out certain martial arts styles that are really, really similar. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? You
right.
talk about MF Doom, Sean P. You know what I'm
Yep,
saying? Like
yep.
all these crazy rhymers. They'd be like, "Boop, doop, doop, doop." Like, what the heck just happened? Like, what did you just do? And so those are some of my favorite. And honestly, you know, rappers don't usually say this about people that are around their era or their peers, but Corey had a huge influence on me, and you have a huge influence on
Oh,
me.
oh, bless you. Thank you,
You know
brother.
what I'm saying? Just seeing people, it's almost like seeing students at your martial arts school who are doing the forms or the things so well. And you're like, you know what I mean? So, even when we collab, you could tell you sent the verse, and I wanted to pattern it in a way that it felt like we wrote it in the same room.
Together, yeah. Well, that's
Yeah.
that's that's a good a trick too, is what I use too. It's like when you're on a song with somebody, that, and you love the song, it's like you have to make the vibe match.
Right.
It's like I use a posse cut as an example. There's two different type of posse cuts you can do. You can do like a mellow jazzy one, so get the
Mm.
mellow jazzy guys on that one. And then like the MCs, you get like a hardcore punch your face in posse cut, get
Right.
all the aggressive punch your face in
Right.
MCs. So all
Right.
that vibe can match everything.
Right. How for you, man, how often do you feel like you get on a song and you feel like the vibes actually match, or that the other rapper actually steps up to the plate to make it not a total, like
Right, like
demolishment?
uneven, where
Yeah,
it's
like
like, yeah,
totally,
yeah.
like, yeah, like you wanted me on this and I just murdered you. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? Like, how often does that happen? Excluding the legendary rappers. I'm not talking about you doing it with
Oh, okay.
I'm not talking about you doing it with RA or whoever. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying like when you get just a random rapper or somebody you're not even aware of, and you do a song and you actually hear their verse and you're like,
That's dope, right? Yeah,
yeah,
it's like,
you're
oh
like,
shit,
oh
yeah,
shit, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, you're like,
that's
oh
dope,
shoot, right. How
dope.
often? How often does that happen? To
A,
really, honestly,
a couple times, not as much. Like it happens
no,
sometimes. It happens sometimes. But when it happens, you're right. You're like, oh shit, I got to make sure my shit is dope. I
right,
got to
right,
make sure. I got to make sure my rhyme is dope. So it does happen. It happens a couple of times, but for the most part, not as much. Not as much as I would like to. But it does happen. Like once in a while, I'll
right,
be like, oh, okay, this is dope. I got to step the plate up.
right. What would you say? What would you say were some times that you were like impressed? You know what I'm saying? Where you rapped, and you know what I'm saying, and it was like, oh snap, like, yo, that was dope. And then obviously I don't want to ask the negative because that's not cool. And people's careers at the same time. But yeah, yeah. What would you say sometimes, man, where you just rap and you're like, yo, that's really dope. You know what I mean?
I've done that when I was touring around past few years, like in Europe and stuff. I would hear German MCs, Italian
Mm,
MCs, Spanish MCs, Irish MCs, British MCs, and a lot of them be nasty. A lot of them be
Yeah.
dope. And this crazy thing is, I go by ear. I know, like I hear a rhythm and I just
Right.
feel it,
Right.
and I know flow. So like I'm hearing some of these guys on stage. I'm backstage, and you hear them on the stage, and they're just like,
Yeah.
you're like, oh shit, like wow, like you go to places like these motherfuckers are going, they're doing their thing. You're like, wow,
Yeah.
like, and I hear it. I'm just like, wow, he's technically
He's
crazy.
technically
Like,
crazy. Yeah. Yeah. Word. Question. Hey, let's see, man. Let's see if we got the random questions. Unless you got anything else. I'm thinking the
yeah, I got MC, who influenced you martial arts. What age were you when you decided to go into martial arts?
so I didn't decide. I was
Oh, when you,
6.
yeah.
Yeah, and my father always loved martial arts. We used to watch martial arts movies together, and so he done martial arts, and he was at a, MMA is kind of like a pretty new phenomenon in the U.S. But he was at a MMA school that was very early on, and he become an instructor there, and so he just put me in martial arts at 6. Doing judo first. And then that was just a thing that me and my dad would do. So then we did taekwondo together, and I was like, "Yo, this is whack. I don't like this. I want to do kung fu." You know what I mean? And then he went with me there until he eventually left, and I stayed. Um, but yeah, so my father kind of put me in, and it just matched my wiring. You know what I'm saying? Just matched my DNA. And
Put the battery in your back.
yeah, yeah. I almost feel like he just plugged me into the wall, to be honest. Like it's almost like I was already there and he just plugged like, "Doo. Oh, okay, yeah, this is what I love to do. So yeah, man, that's one, bro. You ready for the random questions?
Yeah, sure, got you.
All right, let's go. Mm,
Biggest misconception about you.
you first, bro.
Personally, sometimes it's my fault, but depending on my mood, I could have just a straight face like this, like just straight face. But if you
Mm,
come up to me in person, I'm cool. You just be, hey, what's up, bro? I'll be like, hey, what's going on, player? What's going on?
mm.
Like I do notice I get a few messages where like, yo, I wanted to say what's up, but it looked like you were pissed off. I was like, really?
Right.
Like, really? I'm like, nah, I was chilling, bro. But hey, But yeah, that's one of a misconception. And then when it comes to the rhyming and stuff, they say that, I don't want to say I'm ungrateful, but sometimes they could put you in the box, like you're the
Mm,
freestyle guy or you're the fast rap
right.
guy. And that's why I do my best to almost do it all as much as I can, so the fans could be like, oh, he could do this, he could do that, he could do this. So as
Yeah.
far as rhyming, that's like the biggest misconception for me.
Mm. Yeah, I'm trying to think. For me, the biggest misconception. Yeah, that's a hard question. Biggest misconception I would say is like I feel like in my life I play I'm in very it's always been the case. I'm in very diverse circles that call for a different part of my personality that sometimes feel like so far apart that you're like, how can this guy be that guy? You know what I'm
Right,
saying? And not even like my character stays the same. It's just, but I'm operating in different circles.
right.
Um, and so I think the biggest misconception, like I think growing up doing martial arts and stuff like that, there was an aspect of my personality, like the martial arts um, spirit, if you will, that was able to live there. But like as a person, I like to joke around, I like to play around, and so I think there could be a misconception, like sometimes I'm like I might have been born in the wrong era. Like I might supposed to be a
I
samurai
feel
somewhere.
that.
You know what I mean? Like I'm
I
just
feel that.
and even in my DNA, my family tree is there's a lot of warriors, and so it's like I think the misconception could be like you see this like nice, happy, I'm a joke around type of guy, but there's a very different side. Yeah,
Serious side. Right, right.
yeah, very serious. That's very much at home, and sometimes those don't coexist. And so I think that's the misconception. Somebody hear me rap, or they'll see me do martial arts and be like, you know what I mean? Like, is that Philippe? Like, what? You know what I mean? And so yeah, I think so. It's the
Yeah,
next one.
that's a great one.
Greatest ambition.
Wow. Damn, they're going with the philosophical ones right here. They're
Hey,
going
this
with
is
it.
this is the this is the philosophical show,
It's
bro.
all good. It's all good.
It's
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 all
about
good.
to get more philosophical after these questions, bro.
It's
That's
all
what I
good.
do.
It's all good. Um, biggest ambition. I want to be at a point in my life where my moms don't got to pay for bills anymore. She don't have
Mm,
to worry about a bill. She doesn't have to worry about anything like that. And it's just like where it's like, mom, you worked hard so long the first half of your life. Like, let me this is
mm,
the part where I take it, where I come in and I'm like, don't worry about nothing,
mm.
you know. And I'm not there yet, but when I get there, that's one of my biggest ambitions is
Yeah.
just family, just making sure family, like the family that took care of me when I was like didn't have it all like that, or like or what I had now, like yeah, it's just taking care of them, man, or my
Yeah.
mom's, you know.
Yeah, that's dope. I can definitely resonate with that. Like just wanting to honor all the hard work, you know what I'm saying, sacrifices
Right,
that my
right,
parents put in,
absolutely,
being from Haiti and stuff. But I think even more than that, man, for me, it's really this without context, it might be hard to understand, but it's like for me, it's to put a smile on
good.
my desire, a smile on my designer's face, bro, like a smile on God's face, bro. And it sounds crazy, but when you think
No,
about,
that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
yeah, when you think about, even in the martial arts context, it's like, my parents gave a lot for me, but they didn't draw me. They didn't design me. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like there's a being, we're artists, man. We look outside, everything is art.
Yeah, it's a great
Like
way of putting
literally
it. The
everything, like
trees,
the
the
trees,
grass.
yeah. It's like trees, the grass, and everything is functional. It's like our eye is more complicated than a machine. Like that didn't come out of nowhere. Like, how can it come from a non-intelligent source? Everything works perfectly together. Like there's a ball of fire right now just hanging out in the air, giving us energy. Literally, it's like a fairy tale. There's a ball of fire called the sun. It's just like hanging up there. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's an
Right.
amazing world. And I can tell by relationships and everything that love, even as you were talking about it, like love is the thing that ties like you and your mom. Like that's what makes her your moms. You know what I'm saying? Is love. The way that you guys are fostering kids. It's love. So even the concept of God being love and that whole encompassing thing, it's like I want my ambition is that past my life, not just here, because people love you and hate you here in the flip of a.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Happen any second.
the designer that I could put a smile on his face, like, yeah, you loved me, you loved people. Yeah, so that for me, and like it's like I with my spiritual walk is like I've experienced God doing so much, bro, that I'm like anything. You know what I'm saying? Anything for you. So that's me.
That's beautiful, man. For real.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. Mm,
Mm. Overthinking. That's my flaw. That's my biggest flaw is overthinking. Thinking too much. Like, am I thinking, oh, if I don't, I kind of like it. I don't like it. Let me do the fifth take. I don't like it. Damn. Like, I didn't come. This little part I could have did better. Damn. Like it's every little thing. Like that's my flaw is overthinking.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that I can I got the exact same flaw. I think it's maybe even the type of martial arts rap style that we picked. You know what I'm saying? It's like you want it to sound a specific way that you had it in your mind and the flow and let me change my you know what I mean? So I got the exact same thing, except I think, you know, yours comes out well edited. You know what I'm
Boy, I didn't.
saying? Like and sometimes when you rhyme the way that you rhyme, it could come out too much. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like it
I
could
hear
come
what you're
out
saying.
like, oh man, that was too much. Like you have a veteran's like a master's touch, which is for me, is like always overthinking. Like this is where I stop the flow and I say something even clearer. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? And so I
Right,
could
right.
see like, you know what I mean? And so yeah, whatever overthinking you're doing is working. But yeah, for me it's
But yeah, like
yeah,
that's the behind the scenes. Like I'll be in the studio session. Like fans don't see this. They'll like I could have a good 4 hour studio session. Sometimes, like most of the on a regular day, I'll bang
yeah.
out like 2 or 3 joints in 4 hours. You know, and
Wow.
sometimes I'll have it written before I go there. But you know, they don't see like the 3 hour that rough day where I'm in the out studio for 3 hours on one song where I'm just like, oh, like I can't like get through to it. Like I'll just say, it's
Right.
crazy. Yeah, it's every little detail. If this little thing messes it up, then the whole verse is messed up for me. That's how it
Yeah,
is. It's crazy.
absolutely. Yeah, me too. Word. Um Is that it? Are we done with the pop quiz questions? Oh, I like this one. Here we go. Hot seat.
Politically, I'm not a fan of the government. That's all I'll say. I'm not a fan of either sides. I'm not a fan of the government. I think they're master manipulators and psychologists. I think they control is a big word, but I think they really got a lot of people on this earth fooled. I'll say that.
Yeah.
So I'm not a fan I'm not a fan of politics. I don't rhyme about politics. If I do say something, I'll be like, I don't like the government. That's
Right.
that's it. Yeah, but yeah, that's why I stay away from politics and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I'm actually very similar to that. I don't. Yeah, man. Unfortunately, the human heart, man, is like very hard to trust. And you put power and money and stuff is like somebody's going crazy with this. So, yeah, I'm on the same place. I think one of the things politically incorrect, maybe that I believe that I'd say is, you know, just believing that being politically correct is not helpful because it's a form of like it has the guise of we want to respect everybody.
Hmm. Or it's like
But
more like more. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
But what it actually does is it shuts people's mouths. And so what it does is like you're afraid of saying you disagree with something.
Right.
And so it's like a form of censorship. It's like
There
a
you go.
form,
There you go.
it's a form of informal censorship. And because I want to be able to say what I think, I want you to be able to say what you think, even if even if you say you hate me. Cool. As long as I can say what I want to say. You know what I'm saying? And so like free speech, you think of us as artists. I actually think that we're in a time where free speech is being attacked more and more
True. That's
under
true.
the guise of protecting groups of people. Like, oh, we want to protect. Ain't nobody trying to protect nobody. You know what I mean? Like you actually, the less free speech we have, the more the government is in control. How do you think
Absolutely.
how do things like
Absolutely.
Nazi Germany happen? Like people are afraid to say anything. People are afraid to talk. Like nobody's just cool with people throwing, you know what I'm saying? And even when we were talking about movies, you create a stereotype of a Jewish person that's, oh, he's a problem. And you dehumanize people. You dehumanize people and you shut their mouths. Then the government can do whatever they want.
Yeah,
You know what
it's
I'm saying?
canceling and stuff like that, and
Right.
yeah, there's a lot of stuff to it, man. It's bananas. It's bananas.
Yeah,
And
it's
yeah,
crazy.
we're living in a really intense time right now. It's super intense on like all sides. Like
Yeah.
it's like I always say, we're living in a big ass movie. We're living in a movie. I've always felt like that since I was a kid. I always felt like I was in the Truman Show. I
Mhm.
always felt like it, and now I'm like, yeah, we're in the Twilight Zone. This is the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
I always tell folks that.
Word. Yeah. It's crazy, bro. Man, that you killed it. Truman Show with Jim Carrey.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. You killed it, bro. With those questions, you didn't stumble at any of them. Uh, I want to ask you something. You know, I want to go even more philosophical with you. Um,
Sure.
um, I just had 15 questions in my mind to go through, but the first thing I want to say, man, is again, man, I appreciate you coming on here, man.
Oh, it's no problem at all, bro. No problem.
Because I want this time when I hang out with people just to have really disciplined with their craft. The word kung fu means mastery because of hard work over time.
Oh,
You know what
wow.
I'm saying?
Look at
Yeah,
that.
it's synonymous with discipline. So you can say a rapper has good kung fu, or you could say an architect has good kung fu. You could say anybody has good kung fu. You know what I'm saying? And so I want people here who have good kung fu. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
So I appreciate you coming on, man. Um, the other thing I was gonna say to you is, all right, well, let me ask you this. Before that, man, what did you think, man, to share, man, like about honestly the collabs that we worked on? What were your thoughts? You know what I'm saying? And um uh how would you summarize, yeah, just your thoughts and things I can take away, you know what I'm saying, as well.
Well, it's a good chemistry. You're a great technician and you're a great lyricist. You're like a really dope lyricist. So, it's good to it's good to not always, Like I don't want to sound like I'm not the best MC of all, nothing like that. I like rhyming. I
You're
like
close,
just
bro. You're close.
I just love rhyming and just making music,
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to, it's always great to have another fellow technician on a song.
Mm.
There's not a lot, there's technicians, but there's not a lot of technicians, like there's
Yeah.
just cool MCs, which is great too. I don't just love technicians in
Right. Right.
my hip hop, but I have a special place for technicians.
Yeah.
So whenever I hear technician, I'm like, yo, of course, let's get on a song, man. Like it's a great matchup and it's a good chemistry. It's like we're not lazy. We're not being lazy on it. And it's just like we're attacking the track. So anytime I'm on a track with a technician, it's a privilege,
Yeah. That's like I said, bro, I'm very hard on myself and I'm very hard on artists in my mind, like just
Yeah, yeah.
critically,
Like
especially,
picky.
yeah,
I'm
picky.
picky. I'm picky. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, especially when you spend so much time, like for me in martial arts or even rap, but like you have a standard in your mind, whether you've reached it or not, you're like, this is what it is. And you have all these incredible, you got the Sean P's, like we said, MF Doons, you got the Big Puns, you got those ridiculous people in mind. And so you can't help, anytime you hear something, there's actually that in the back of your mind. And so, I really appreciate that because I know for me, it's very hard, especially when someone's a technician. It's almost like the bar is raised higher in my mind. It's like for me, it's like you're stepping on sacred ground. Like it's like you can't try to be a technician and then fail. It looks
Right.
worse. It looks
Right.
worse than just rapping normally.
Right.
Like
It's like,
yeah, like you can't, like if you're gonna rap, for example, if somebody were to rap fast right now and it doesn't work, is like, bro, like, you know what I mean? It's
yeah,
like,
you gotta study more. It's about studying too. Listen, like when it
right.
comes to the fast rap style, two guys I looked up to heavy were Twister, but Tongue Twister.
Tongue
That
twister. Oh, bro. Tongue twister.
tongue
Tongue
twister.
twister. Wait, you
That
remember which one was that? Was that called Tongue Twister? The one where he was laying down in a hospital
yeah,
bed?
capital tongue consistent, Mr. Tongue Twister.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
and you didn't
running
say
off at the mouth.
running off with the
That
mouth.
yeah, running off at
Oh
the
man, that's one
running
of my
off.
favorite.
Running off at the mouth alone is one of my biggest influences when it comes to the fast rapping. I can't tell you how many times I played that song over and over and over
That's one of my
studying.
favorite. That's one of my favorite. It's just
Yeah.
ridiculous.
So it's studying, Twista and Busta, both of them were like, and there's other guys too, Chip Fu from Fu Schnickens,
Yeah.
these guys are huge influences me with that. And I remember being in middle school and my homies could tell you too, they were like, yo, Fro was always in the corner just rhyming or studying, like listen with the headphone in the classroom, because the teacher was always cool with me. He was like, yeah, put the headphone in as long as you're doing your work. I'm like, cool.
Right.
So I'm just studying and then, yeah, it's studying. It's almost like studying like a test or something like that. You study their rhyme scheme, study their format every 4 bars to see how they pick it up, to see how they transition, stuff like that.
Yeah. No, that's so dope. I should have known that influence, but yeah, I love that you said that. M is another one. I can't leave M out. I think I heard the Slim Shady LP. I can't even remember the song because I'm a terrible fan of everything. Whenever I hear something I like, I just hear it so I can study it and I move on a lot of times. But I think it was, what song was it? It was a high school song, the Bully song.
Role model? No, not role model. No. I know which one you're talking about.
You know which one I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
I remember I heard that growing up and I was like, what the heck just happened? You know what I mean? He's not even rapping fast. It's just his rhyming combinations. I think M is one of the best at having the most simple rhyming, simple rhyming combinations. Like the most amount and saying something complex at the same time. When you're trying to find rhyme schemes, like I think very philosophically. So I'll think of something like, I won't be like, washing machine.
Right, you'll think of something. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying.
Something that's like more out there. But M will be like washing machine, and he'll find something else in the room that sounds exactly like washing machine, and the whole joint is just like really intelligible phrases that everybody uses. And you're like, dang, I should have thought about those two together. So I love that particularly about M. And like you said, you try to do is versatile.
Yeah, and I get what you're saying too, because like the example I could think of is like think of a Pharoah Monson and think of Eminem. You know, like Eminem, like you said, will say something like a washing machine, and then you'll have Pharoah be like time, million times, millennium, like
Yeah,
oh, let me stay
exactly,
around
exactly.
continuum, like some
Right,
crazy
exactly,
shit.
exactly. You're like,
Or like
what
a
the?
or like a Aesop Rock, like he goes in like where he's just like ovular oculation, like he just
Right, right.
like
Like what? Like, so I really respect, and I think there's a level of mastery there that I got to give up to M, because it's like you're doing what the best technicians do, and you're doing it in a way that allows the listener who may not even like technicians to get everything.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
They'll understand it.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is incredible. But yeah, anyways, we're gonna get into the deep. You ready? You gotta put your seatbelt on. You
Yeah, I'm
ready?
good.
All right.
I'm good.
Um, I'll ask you two things, man. One is, what would you die for?
Wow,
And
that's a
what
great
would you,
one.
what would you die for? And what would you kill for? And I don't mean kill like, like, oh, I want to do this so bad. I mean like literally,
No, like if it was an
yeah,
insane situation.
right.
My mom's,
Mm,
my
mm,
mom's, because I know I can trust my mom's like with 100% of my heart.
mm.
And who would I die for? I think I would say my mom's, my close family, my really
Yeah, yeah.
close family. You know, if they were in a situation I had to jump in front of a bullet, I'm gonna do it. You know, I'm like
Mm,
I'd rather me get hit by that bullet than my mom's or like my close, like my pops, stuff like that. So
okay. That's dope. I like that. All right. So just ride with me here, bro. And in this part, man, I always tell people, um I want to get philosophical, a spiritual talk about life. Like, one of the biggest things for me is, there's the artist, and then there's a person, and there's a soul,
that's a great way of putting it.
behind it. And it's like, first you talk to a person, it's like you're talking to an artist. Then you get to the point in a relationship where you're talking to the person.
Yep.
And then very rarely do you get to the point where it's like, yo, we're talking to the soul, like the depth of who you are. And, and there's different levels. Like, I love what you said, like your mom saved your life, and you want to, and I think I even read somewhere, like, you want to save people's lives with your
Oh,
music.
I would love to. I would
Yeah.
love to. I mean, I say it all the time. Like the fans that hit me back, like they choke me, like it chokes me up because I never thought I would have a fan that had like a tattoo of me on them or anything
Right.
like that. I would have never thought that. So when I get like posts or DMs like that, I choke up. I'm like, wow, this is like I always wanted to be able to like impact in a positive way.
Yeah.
But it's like when you see that, it's like, wow, it's like,
Well, check this out, man. My hope today is to actually tell you something that'll blow your mind. Okay. That's
okay.
my hope. That's my hope, because of the things that you said. I think in, that it'll have an impact. And that's my, just kind of leave it with you for food for thought, is like what you said, like, you would take a bullet for your mom, because
Right.
you can trust her. She loves you. She's shown her love. So I want you, and we're similar, man. There's a lot. I'm surprised. There's a lot of different ways where we're actually similar in the way we look at things. Is, how do you define love? How do you know? Let me change it. How do you define love? But also, how do you know somebody loves you? I could tell you I love you all day,
Right,
and, and,
right.
and and come rob
Absolutely.
you. Like, that don't that
Absolutely.
that that means absolutely nothing.
Absolutely. Fake
So
love.
fake love. So how do you know someone loves you?
I
It's an
think it
important question, right?
it is. It's a big question.
It's almost like the meaning of life. It's like
It's a really big
it's
question.
like a one tier down.
I think it's a balance of actions and words. I think
Mm,
it's like actions show like 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 my mom's could show me that she really loved me because she took care of me and this and that, and, like she made sure I was on the straight path, and that and she made sure like I wasn't getting into too much crazy stuff, and like just action show, like, and in the adoption too, like it just shows like how much she loved me. It's like it's tough to put into words, but it's like it's almost like I could just say like you feel it and you know it, but it's like a connection. It's like almost like a spiritual connection.
yeah.
I feel it. I feel it with certain folks. I'm a very energy guy too. I go off vibes. I go like, if I'm in a room I'm not supposed to be in, my gut feeling tells me that. I'm like, okay, I got to get out of here. So like, that's just a small example, but like, I think it's like a connection. It's like a gut feeling, and like you meet someone and you really like, you have a really good feeling about them, and that could go wrong. That could go wrong way too. You know, you never know with people.
Right.
But you got a good gut feeling, and then their actions just show you that they're like, yo, I got you. You know, like I got you, like for like life or stuff. And I've dropped a lot of friends and stuff like that in the past few years, but like the ones that are still around have shown me like through actions, like, yo, you don't like you don't got oh, I see you struggling a little bit, fro, sometimes, like once in a while. I'm like, yeah, let me help you out, you know, and then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna pay you back. Don't worry about it.
Right.
They're like, don't worry about it. I got you. Or like, it goes both ways. It's like you go out to eat or something, and then like, you know, you go out to eat and it's like, yo, I haven't got enough money like that or something like that. And you don't want to bother, but homie look at you. He don't even have to say anything. He's just like, I got you. Don't you? I got you. I got you.
Yeah. It's I love that. The way I summarize it a lot of times, man, when I think about it, is sacrifice.
Wow. That's a great one. That's a great one.
Right. I always tell people this, like, imagine that you didn't know. This is an analogy I always think about, you know, when I think about like, yo, how do you know somebody loves you? Like, imagine you didn't know your father, right? Which you don't, right? Actually, you're a biological one.
Right.
P.S. Bro, like, you look like you're your parents' kid.
Oh, I know. I
It's
get that
crazy.
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
me and my mom, they're like, you have the same dimples.
Yeah,
And
your
like,
mom look a lot alike, and you know, it's crazy. But so, and even that, bro, like, I just want to say, it's just cool. Like, you know, this earth is full of trials and everybody's got their issues, right? But I love the fact that in the midst of kind of a broken world, you see beauty. And like, just the fact that the designer of the universe, like, although your parents weren't there, the designer of the universe shows you love by putting this amazing woman in your life to love you and to adopt you. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's such a special thing. Like, so a lot of times I see things from how they happen normally, but I see a step up, like, spiritually. Like, there's so many things, like I said, so many things, like, we're breathing, like, we're just here. And it's like, yeah, bad things happen, we know that, but when you look at the good things that happen and how life shapes up, it's like, wow, man, like, to me, that's a sign, like, of God's love for you. You know what I'm saying?
absolutely.
It's like,
I'm spiritual too. I
yeah,
believe
for
in
sure.
I believe in the Most High. So
Yeah,
I'm very spiritual.
yeah. And the cool thing is this, like, this is how I think about it. Because I'm spiritual. I grew up about Buddhism, Hinduism, all these different things, and for a long time it's kind of like a buffet. Like, whatever I liked, I kind of believe, but that's not how you get to truth. Like, just because I like it don't make it true. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
like, but that's how I was. But this is the cool thing, is, check this out, is like, imagine that 5 dudes show up to your house, right? Your afro, boom, you somehow you get you blow the roof off and you're super successful, right? You already are, but you just out of here, right? And all of a sudden 5 dudes show up to your house, right? And they all look like they could be your dad. You got no pictures, nothing. And they're like, yo, I'm your father. Like, I've been looking for you the whole time. I'm a political refugee. Like, I couldn't get back into the country, whatever. So it's not like I left you, I forgot you. It's like, I've been thinking about you the whole time. But it's 5 of them. And you're like, yo, who the heck? You're like, who the heck? And they're all nice and they all know similar information. This is the wild part. 4 of them are lying.
Yep.
This is the wild part, and this is the crazy thing about life. Whether you think about church or temples or whatever, the best liars are the ones who, first of all, they give you 3/4 of truth, right? So you have a reason to believe in them, and then they lie to you. But the best liars are the people who seem good but are bad.
Right. It's like master psychology and shit like that.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, that's the worst. Like, Suge Knight, okay, you could say he's scary, but you know he's Suge Knight. Like, the scary ones are the ones who come in like, oh yeah, I could trust you with everybody. I can trust you with my kids, and they're underneath, they're crazy.
Yeah. Next thing you know, bong, like some crazy.
Yeah. That's and so imagine, so 4 of them are not. So 5 of them show up to your house and they're like, boom, I'm your dad. Boom, you're like, yo, who the heck? Imagine I roll up, boom, boom, boom. For the sake of being funny, I roll up with a samurai sword. And I'm like, yo, on that last collab me and Fro did, I didn't get to chop him up how I wanted to on the track. So now I'm gonna chop him up, whatever. So I come and I'm trying to kill you, right? And I come with a samurai sword and I swing for your head. Right?
Right.
And before I get there, one of the dudes jumps in front of you and gets his head sliced off.
That's the one. That was the one.
No
what do you
DNA.
think?
Yeah, absolutely. No DNA. This is the crazy part. You ready? No DNA test, no research. It don't matter what anybody says about him. In that moment, you're like, there's only a few options. That's for sure probably my dad, because he loves me more than everybody else here, because he had nothing to gain. He's gone now. Number two, he's crazy in the best way. Like, I wish crazy people were like this. When people are crazy, unfortunately, they don't go out doing a bunch of good things for people. Like, that's not
right.
That's not, you know what I mean? That everybody should be crazy. Then that's not what you do. You crazy. So it's like, okay, that must be my dad. You know what I mean? Assuming that your dad is loving and brave, that's who he is, and you have no other information. So this is the mind blowing. Before them are lying. So this is the mind blowing thing. Answer is, there's evil in this world. Do we agree?
Absolutely.
All right.
No question,
right? You turn on the news, there's evil in this world. And so the crazy thing is like, what people don't realize, again, on a artistic level, we can all say there's art it's all self-expression, but there's art that's positive and there's art that's negative.
Right.
We can agree on that. Boom. Okay. Next step. People. We can say there's people that are good, generally good, positive people who try to be good, rather. Everybody's got their issues, but who try to be good. And then there's people who are bad.
Right. And are intentionally doing bad things
malicious,
because they're like, I want to live that way.
Right. And in some ways, I would say, unfortunately, I think all of us have some of this in it. But
I agree.
Let's go to the next level. Spiritual. You know what's crazy? Only in the West, in America, in Europe, only in the West, that we say spiritual, and all of a sudden there's only one option. Right? It's almost like everything spiritual is good. We don't need to research it. We don't need to whatever. Like, right? Like, let me put it this way. If somebody came from India right now and did something spiritual that made you feel good, you'd be like, yo, that's dope. I'm gonna do that. You don't even know. You don't know.
Right, because you're going out that feeling. You're going out.
You don't know. That's like if you didn't know there was good physical and bad things, and I give you heroin, it's gonna feel good. Like, it's killing you and it feels good. Like, just because something makes you feel good right away don't mean that it's actually good, right?
Right. That's true.
And this is the crazy thing. Spiritually, somehow we forget, if physically I can pretend I'm good and actually be bad, is that not possible spiritually?
Wow.
I'm not even talking about people. I'm talking about spirits. It's a crazy thought. That means you think about all the spiritual paths that we all have, different religions, different spiritual paths, all that stuff, right? If there's evil spirits, evil energy, whatever, the crazy thing is that the very thought that you should be careful with spiritual things is like mind-blowing to a lot of people, right? It's like, if somebody came off the street and said, hey, can I come live with you at your house? You'd be like, I don't know you.
Right.
And if they said a bunch of nice things, you wouldn't be like, yeah, come on in. You're like, I don't know you, sir.
Right. I still don't know you.
You need to step away. But that's not what we do with spiritual things. With spiritual things, we're like, that feels good. That sounds good. I want that. Come live with me. Let me experiment. You don't know who you're talking to. You don't know what you're doing, right? So isn't it imperative spiritually that we first determine that spiritual source loves us?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
you got to make sure. You got to make sure that you're taking the right stuff, because, like you said, you could be using the wrong. You could be having the thing that feels good, but it could be completely wrong. You know.
Right. So hold up. This is the crazy thing, bro. That means determining that God is love. Is God love or not? Is at the center of the meaning of life. It's the center of us as human beings, bro. Like like what that means, what that looks like, it's imperative. Like, I gotta know. Like, okay, your dad shows up, he's like, come home with me. hold up. I'm living with my mom and my right now and my dad because
Right.
I know that they love me. They've spent that. I can trust them. I can go home with them. I'm successful. You want me to go home with you. I don't know you.
Right. Right. That's true.
And so this is a crazy thing. People follow spiritual paths without first determining that that spiritual source, in fact, loves them.
Right.
Because what? Just like the house, they're saying good things. Just like the example of the father, they're saying nice things to you. And you're like, that sounds right. That sounds good. And so spiritual, like, yeah, I'm just going to go follow you. Pause. Hold the heck up, bro. You don't know. You pause. You know what I'm saying? Spiritual stuff is more dangerous than physical stuff. I can hurt you physically, but what happens when I hurt you spiritually? You all jacked up, bro.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Okay, so this is my point here, and it's a crazy thought. How do you know that God loves you, bro?
Wow.
Hold
That's,
up, bro.
oh man. I've been in situations that I feel like I shouldn't have got out of. I had a bad car accident 6 years ago. I broke 9 ribs and 2 bones in my vertebrae.
Wow.
They snatched me out of the car, jaws of life. They snatched me out of the car. My bones were so broken, I passed out. I wake up in the CAT scan for 20 seconds. I'm like, oh shit, pass back out. Wake up on the bed. I didn't even move yet. I'm just like, oh shit, I'm on the bed. I move not even like an inch. I move and I feel all 9 ribs at the same time. And I really felt like it was weird. It was like a weird kind of euphoria state. It was like I feel like I wasn't supposed to get out of this. I feel like I know I was because I believe in God, but like at the time I was like, yo, like how did I get out of this? Like this is hardcore. And like I still feel aches and pains to this day, but like that time was really rough.
Yeah.
It was really rough. And then after the accident, it was like all my dreams came true. Like I meet RA like literally 2 weeks after the accident. I meet like and then that domino effect happened for where I'm at now. So it was like I had to go through that traumatic experience for me to be kind of where I'm at right now,
Yeah.
But how I feel like God loves me is because not only do I love him and I'm seeking him for everything that I'm going through, but it's like I feel like he's had my back so many times and I can count
Yeah.
them. I could be like, yo, I wasn't supposed, like, how did I get out of that situation? And I go
I
ahead,
mean,
brother. Go ahead.
no, that's a great. I love that, man, and I'm glad you made it through, bro. And I think one of the things with that is usually people give, and I love that answer, and I think I'm gonna go back to that, but usually people give an answer that basically says this. Hold up, let me just double check. Producer. Okay. All right, good. I just want to make sure that we're good. But so usually people answer that question, and you could tell I think a lot, bro. I just sit down and
It's
think,
all
bro.
good. It's all good.
But usually people come up with the answer, and they say this. They say, they say some kind of blessing, right? That God's given them the situation. I'm like, okay, if that is sufficient for you to know that God loves you, what does it mean when something bad happens?
It's a good one.
Right? If God loves you when something good happens, so I tell people that's not a sufficient answer. That's not a sufficient answer because logic doesn't work for one thing. That's how you know something's true. You play it out to its natural end, right? To the logical end, right? And so it's like, okay, so then what does that mean? If tomorrow you get in, God forbid, you were to get in an accident, right? And
Right.
and you get paralyzed. Does that mean that God loved you back then and now he doesn't love you as much? Can't mean that. Otherwise, your spiritual life is going to continually be like, you know what I mean? And one of the things that I think about, again, and just to give you a little context, When I was about like 13 or 14 years old, like I got told you, I grew up around all types of spiritual things. The Ramadan with my Muslim friends, Hindu friends. I studied Hinduism, all these different things. Um, and the biggest thing for me was like I knew all the reasons. I had a friend who would come up to me with a Bible, right?
Right.
And I'd be like, "Yo, give me that Bible," and it would take me about 5 minutes to find a contradiction. You know what I'm saying? How I saw it. You know what I'm saying? And I would see things on TV. I'm like, no, 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 no. And I just had some really crazy experiences, and it brought me back to this Bible that I was really surprised because I almost knew all the intellectual reasons or cultural reasons to say nah. But just because somebody misuses a hammer doesn't mean it doesn't have a use,
Right.
right? Like I could use a hammer to kill somebody. It doesn't mean it's not there for a nail. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you can misuse a tool to the point where people mistrust the tool. It doesn't mean it was being used properly, right? And I was so surprised. That's a whole other story we could talk about offline if you ever too. So amazing, so many crazy things. But what I realized is I love one thing that Jesus actually says. He says, "In this world you will have trouble."
Yeah.
He says,
Absolutely.
but he says, "Take heart, I've overcome this world." And one of the things I see um, very interesting in the narrative. Well, let me. I want to respect your time, so let me go to this really interesting thought. Is that so? Back to what I was saying is like, okay, if you love me when something good happens, then I guess that means what does that mean? You must maybe not like me when something bad happens. And I tell people there's such a better answer to this, and this is how I wanna go to this next spot with you, and I'm gonna link everything back up. And
Okay.
it's gonna link back to things that you actually said, bro. So this is the crazy thing, like God, I'm sure that you, as you said, you seek God. God loves you so much. It's kind of like I always tell, if I had a kid and I was estranged from my kid or I wasn't around, kind of like your parents, and I did come back to get you, for example, like the example that I give, I would want you to know me, right?
Right.
I
Right.
would
You
want you
don't
to
want to. Well,
know me.
you don't want to know an empty shell of a person. You want to know
Yeah,
like yeah. You want to know the
yeah.
Yeah. Get to know the
And
person.
yeah, and sadly with God, sometimes it's like this just this amorphous thing. And it's like, nah, if you made me, you love me, you designed me, shouldn't there be a way for me to like know you for real and like interact with you more?
Right.
And this is what I say to people, and I'm gonna tie it all right back in about 2 minutes. Where will you go? Where will James Gutierrez, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, where will James Gutierrez go? I got to take you out of your artist mode because this is so real. Like, this isn't, I want to tell you, this is not a philosophical question. This is not cool. This is for real. This is a brother talking to a brother now. Like, forget all this is a brother. This is a human talking to a human. Like, for real, I want to see you in heaven. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got a love for you. I want to see you in heaven. I want to see people in heaven. So, the question I tell people this, just what you believe, right? If you were to pass away, right? And I tell people the afterlife is not something to play with. I tell people that's the one thing I don't want to be wrong about. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be wrong. Like, oh, I'm like, nah, I don't want to go and be like, oh, snap, I'm not getting in. You know what I mean? Or like, oh, snap, this is not here. Like, I'm a stickler for truth. If it's not going to be there, I don't want to believe in it. I don't like to do things just because they make me feel good. I want to know what's what. I don't like to believe stuff that's not true. And so for you, if James Gutierrez, God forbid, was to pass away, and every moment we get closer to that moment when you pass away, and we don't know if it's in 5 years or in 40 years, but
Yeah.
when you pass away, and when we pass away, I bet we'll think back to this moment and this question: where do you think you will go? Where will you go? Where will James Gutierrez go when he passes away?
Um. I don't know. I just feel like that's a good question. At 22, I feel like I got way more to go. I feel like I got more information and research to take in. So um, I would hope heaven, but that's not my say. Like
Right.
I can work on being a good person and having a good heart and all that, but like that's not my say at the end of
Yeah,
the day.
you're right. You're right.
So,
So,
so I would hope heaven. I would hope a beautiful place in the afterlife because
yeah,
I don't want to be either in purgatory in the grave all day. That's scary.
right. Or worse, hell, right? Like, you know, people are like, yo, there's hell here. It's like, here is hell, but you still got some people who love you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you still have some good things. Hell is the absence of that. You know, like, we've never experienced that, right? And so I always, for me, it's more like, when you love somebody, you talk about the most important things, like, you know what I mean? And so this is the thing, man. I always tell people this. Imagine you pass away right now. All right, you and I both pass away. Like, bro, we were just having this conversation, yo. This is crazy. Like, boom, because we don't know. We don't know. Like, people pass away at 5 years old. Like, we don't know how long. We have no idea
Right.
how long we
That's true.
have.
Absolutely.
And so it's like, okay, we pass away, boom, and we're like, oh, snap. Imagine you see God, and imagine God really is love, right? So you feel more euphoria than ever. It's like, oh, snap, this is amazing. And he's like, James, I love you. I designed you. Like, you're my design. Like, you're my idea. You have an idea for a song. You're the God of the universe's idea. That's how dope you are. You know what I mean? He's like, you're my idea. I designed you. And he says, I love you. And he goes, but James, he's like, I'm righteous. He's like, I got to do the right thing. This
Right.
is judgment time. He's like, based on my spiritual laws, are you innocent or guilty? What would you say?
Man, I'd probably say I'm not innocent, you know. I'm not I don't do evil, wicked shit, but there's certain things, like, I'm sure God doesn't like smoking. You know, like, there's certain things I'm still doing that like, not doing it like as a laugh or a mock to the face. It's just like, I'm so used to this lifestyle. Like, I'm so used to it. Like, it's almost like food. Like, that's not a good thing. It's just like, I have certain things that aren't, that aren't really godly. We're
Yeah.
destroying my body and shit like that, So,
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's a tough one. I would say, God, I've done things I'm not proud of, but I pray that you look into my good heart and that you see the things that I either tried to do or that I was working on for the good.
Yeah. Yeah. And
For the good.
what's crazy? No, for sure. And I know, what's crazy is that, what's crazy about that, man, is like, you ever take a test in school and you thought you had a good grade on it?
Yeah. Yeah. You're like, oh,
And
I
you know,
aced it.
I aced it. Like, mom, like, if she's gonna give you a gift or allow you, like, yo, I aced it, right? And then you got to school and you failed that joint.
Yeah, that's happened to me. Yep.
Yeah. That's something I always think about, because the Bible actually says something real crazy, bro. And even stuff that I told you, I used to find a contradiction in 5 minutes. This book that I used to do that, and I there's everything I thought was a contradiction now, as I've learned and studied, was not. It was just brilliant. You know how, like, you learn negative numbers in math? Like, if someone was like, you can add two numbers and get zero, you'd be like, you're an idiot. You can't do
Right.
that.
Right. It's two, right? Two.
Yeah,
Yeah.
how are you gonna get zero when you add two numbers? But then it's because you haven't learned the concept of negative numbers. And then they're like, 1 plus negative 1 is 0. And you're like, oh, snap. And so a lot of times there's things that we think are contradictions because we don't have all the information.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I realized that. But one of the things it says, which I think is so true about humankind, bro, it says, Romans 2:23, I think about it, says, all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God, right? All have sinned. Like, we've all sinned. We're all guilty.
We all got it in us.
Yeah. And not only that, we got it in us, but we've also done it. Like, I can't just think of times where I've accidentally done something. I can think of times where my heart was wrong, bro, where I've done things for my own benefit that have hurt others. You know what I'm saying? Like, you even think about relationships with girls or different things. Like, you hook up with a girl who likes you and you don't like her. That's not right. You're using her.
Right. You got to be real. You got to be truthful. You got to
Yeah.
be right.
Yeah. And sometimes when you run in game, you're being truthful and that makes her want you more, but you're using her. You know what I'm saying? Or different situations, you lie in a situation. Like, what I've seen is, like, if God were to actually, this is how you know the nature of your heart. The Bible's like, actually, our hearts are not as good as we think. This is how you know the nature of our heart. If you would be okay on Judgment Day or any day of your life with somebody playing all of your thoughts for everybody to see, then you got a okay heart. But, bro, I would never let anybody see all my thoughts, bro.
Me neither.
Me neither.
Me neither.
Because there's things that are inside that I don't subscribe. I don't want to, dude. You know what I mean? And it's like, but God sees that. And this is a crazy thing. when Jesus was here, bro, he's so brilliant, bro. He'd be like, you just think about God's spiritual eyes. Do not lie. We've all done that, right?
Yeah,
Guilty, guilty. Do not
absolutely.
steal. Do not steal. At some point, guilty.
Me too.
Then he says, do not commit adultery. But he says, and he says, do not murder, right?
Right.
And the crazy thing is like there was the spiritual religious leaders of the time, the Pharisees. Jesus was always like cutting them down because of their pride. He would always go to people who knew that they were sinful, and they were humble, and they would take him in. But all the people who were self-righteous and like super religious, he's always cutting down the size. So he says to them, because they would always misunderstand his word, because if you're proud and all that, you're not going to understand what he's saying. And so he would say things like, do not murder, and they feel all cozy. And he says, if you've looked at a man with hate in your heart, that's murder of the heart. He's like, God doesn't just look at your actions, he looks at your thoughts. And a lot of times we're like, I thought it, but I ain't do it. And God's like, nah, I see everything. And so it's like, whoa, like you said, it's not up to us to judge, right? Like if I take my own standard, I'm a pretty good dude. You know what I'm saying? If I take the world standard, I might be like, yo, I'm a great dude. If I take God's standard, I'm like, oh, snap, do not do this. Dang, I've done that. I've done that. I've done that. I've done that. I failed. It's a test that we think we're passing and we're miserably failing, bro. And this is the thing. This is the thing. What I love about Jesus is straight up, like, as I looked at every spiritual path, you know what it said? It basically said, yo, you've done a lot of bad things, but cool. Just do a bunch of good things and you'll be okay. As long as it balances out and you got more good than bad, or God sees your heart or whatever, you'll be straight, right? But do you remember what I said to you in the beginning when I was like, yo, bro, just like there are physical liars that are really good liars, there's spiritual liars that are really good liars.
Right.
So check this out. Let's play this out, because if you look at, we'll just take the Bible for now. If you look at it, but even though it's all over, you look at the scriptures, it gives us definitions like for us to understand spiritual concepts like judges, courts, father, all these different things, right? Like God is a judge, judgment day, all these things, right? So let's use the examples that are in there and let's play it out and see how those systems work. Imagine you and I go to God, right? Or you go to court today. You commit one you do one thing today, all right? You kill somebody today, Afro. You get really mad. It's a scuffle. Somebody pushes your mom. You spaz out. You kill him, right? Now your court date is 5 months from now. Just making that up. In those 5 months, bro, you do 507,000 good things. 507,000 to 1. What happens to you on that court date in front of the judge when he finds you guilty of killing that person? What happens?
I don't know. You go to jail.
You go to jail, bro.
You go to prison.
You go to prison, bro. And that's the system that most of us are counting on to get into heaven. Like, as if the judge is going to see your good things and be like, yo, forget about the bad things. Like, I got 3 kids, bro, in the house right now upstairs. I'm surprised we can't hear him. And I love him to death. And if my kid gets an A at school and then beats up their brother and sister, it's not like, oh, man, well, you got an A, you're good. It's like we're dealing with the bad thing that you did, no matter what good thing you do. Right? It's not even in the same sentence. That's not what we're talking about. I could give you a hug because you did really good at school. I give you a gift, but you beat up your brother? Nah, we're talking about that. And you're going to get the consequence for that. Nothing good that you do is going to take away that consequence, especially if the judge is righteous. What would you think if I killed somebody that you love and the judge was like, man, I love you, Philippe, you got a good heart, I'm going to let you go? What? You can't let me go. That would make you a crooked judge. You cannot. Your character is on the line. It doesn't matter how much you love me. You got to give me what I deserve if you're a judge and I'm guilty. Either you're going to let everybody go, in which case you should have never gave laws. You just wasted your breath. Or you got to treat everybody based on what they've done. No matter what, you can't have preferential treatment. So this is a crazy thing. I'm gonna leave you with good news. I'm just going to the bad news because in order to understand the good news is the bad news. But I always tell people this, man. This is real talk. I don't care. This is not a religious conversation. Like I have no agenda, but literally, I don't care if you believe me or not, bro. Like I care, and I want to see you in heaven because God's done some crazy things in my life, right? And that's the bottom line of this part of it. You know what I mean? This is like we want artist, person. Now this is the soul part, and this is the thing. Imagine this, bro. How would you react to this? I'm guilty. I'm guilty as heck, bro. I'm guilty, right? So, and imagine we tell God, like, man, oh, God, we're guilty. Like, I'm guilty for sure. Like, you gave me a brain, I used it for my own pleasure. I used it for pornography. You gave me lips, I used it to curse people out. You gave me eyes, like literally everything you gave me, I've done nonsense with. You know what I mean?
True.
You gave me a stomach. I'm overeating. You know, like everything that you gave me, I misuse. So it's like I'm guilty, like I'm dead guilty. And he's like, imagine him just being having the sad because he has to do. He's not just loving, he's righteous. So it's like, oh snap. And he doesn't like if I hurt you, and he doesn't like if I hurt myself because he designed them both, right?
Right.
So this is it. So imagine we say this, and this is the wrapping it up here. He goes, boom, like, all right, you're guilty. We're both guilty. Imagine this. There's a scripture in the Bible that says the wages of sin is death. Basically means the penalty for our sin is spiritual death. That's where the concept of hell comes from, which is really separation from God's goodness forever, because we basically chose to not like God. I'm good. I'm gonna do whatever I want. So He's giving us that. You want to be away,
A free
separation from Him.
choice. Free
Yeah,
choice.
yeah. So you're like, okay, I'm gonna do this. So imagine this. There's an electrical chair as a metaphor for hell, okay? Like a death penalty. Because he gave us life for good, we use it for bad, our life gets taken, let's say, right? So we're there and we're like, oh, snap, man, like hell is forever. So you and I are both walking to the electrical chair. Just picture that for a second. Like we walk into like, yo, this is forever. We're like, yo, this is crazy. And we're not even mad at God because we've experienced his love now. And before you get there, God says, James, I love you. I love you too much to let you go to this chair. He's like, because this is forever. Like, I don't want you to go here. He's like, but I'm too righteous. I can't let your sin go. Like, I can't just turn a blind eye. So it's like, what does he do? In order to be consistent, what does he do? And we're like, dang, man, I don't need a riddle before I go to hell. So you say bye to your friends and family, because even if everybody were to go there, because everybody's guilty, we're separate. It's lonely. Relationship isn't there. And so imagine you're going there, and then you turn back. As you're walking to your chair, you say bye to your friends and family, and you see your chair. You look at your chair, and imagine what you see in your chair.
Me?
Nope. You
Oh.
look at your chair, and imagine you see your chair. You look up, and you see the judge himself sitting on your chair.
Oh, the judge who sentenced me to the murder.
Yeah. Imagine. No. Yeah. Imagine you see the judge. You're supposed to go to the death penalty, and you look over, and you see the judge himself sitting on your chair. On your chair with your name on it. You're like, whoa, hold up. The whole court is in arms. Like, what the heck is going on? Like, what are you doing? You're like, Judge, what are you doing? He's like, James, I love you. He's like, I love you too much to let you go here because this is forever. He says, but your guilt, your crime has to be paid for. He says, so I'm going to pay for it.
Wow.
He says, so I'm going to pay for it, bro. In that moment, God has been both righteous and loving. He didn't just say, I'm going to let your sin go. Like you got a good heart, or, you know what I'm saying? You did some good things, or I like you. No, he stayed true. He says the penalty is death. He didn't move from that, but he found a way to let you out of something that you deserved. And for me, that's mind blowing. In every situation in life, it's like I can think back and I'm like, of course you love me. Look what you did. Like, this is the crazy thing. And you know who that's a metaphor for, right?
Oh, I'm here. I'm listening to you.
Yeah, it's a metaphor for Jesus. The whole story, the whole point is
Sacrifice.
sacrifice. How do you define love? Sacrifice. How do you know your mom loves you? Well, she fought for you for 5 years. You know how much sacrifice that is? How did you know that guy was your father and not the other four? He died for you. Split second, you knew that. So when I tell people, I say with all kindness and respect to people's cultures and faiths, but there's prophets all over the world all the time who tell us they come from God and they tell us all these things about God. I don't know you. How do I know your agenda or what you're saying is true? Just because you tell me some good things, but this is a crazy thing. The Bible tells you honesty about you. It says you're guilty. Everybody else playing around with that. He's like, you're guilty and there's nothing good that you can do to undo the guilt. And it's true. Take that away and just play it out. Yeah, we just played it out together. The judge is still sending you to jail. It's true. And so it makes Jesus stick out like a sore thumb, just like the guy who's jumped in front of the samurai sword. It's like, if good things can't get me out of my sin, either the God who's there is just going to pick favorites and not be righteous. You good?
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, you're all good. No, you're good. I was just making sure you're good. But like be righteous, you know what I'm saying? Or, you know, and so I just tell people this, man, like the God of the universe loves you like crazy, not a little bit. And he didn't just say it. He didn't just talk about it. He actually did something, you know? And he came
Right.
and he sacrificed himself. And I just tell people this, man, like, just like the example of the dad who took the sword, there's only a few explanations for this. You know what the people of the time called the Jews who had hard hearts? And the Bible predicted all this. It predicted when Jesus was going to be born, where he was going to be born, how. Like, you can't even make that stuff up. And anyways, there's all types of stuff we can talk about. People are like, oh, it's been changed, all this. No, we have over 23,000 copies of the scriptures, the ancient scriptures, to compare to the scriptures we have now to see if it's true. And anyways, the point is this, bro. Like, I don't even want to get into that. The point is this, like, there's only one who came from God, who claimed himself to be God, actually in human flesh, that ever offered to pay for you. It's not like we're comparing, well, he paid for me, he paid for me. No, nobody else anywhere ever claimed to pay for your sins. It's a unique thing. And so I always tell people this, like, if everybody's claiming to come from God, this man, he's only one option. He's crazy. And he's crazy in a way that he's going around doing a bunch of good things. Nobody has anything bad to say about Jesus, even if they hate the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's like, oh, he must be a good dude or a good teacher. We have nothing wrong on this guy. And this guy was killed for blaspheming, for saying he was God. So who was he? Who was Jesus? Was he a crazy guy who just thought, I'm going to die for people? What? Why would you do that? And we have nothing bad on him. Or is he God? The people who hated him at the time, you know what they called him? They called him a magician. You know why? Because they couldn't deny his miracles. Because if they said he wasn't doing miracles, people would have been like, what are you talking about? We saw him raise somebody from the dead. We saw him walk on water. We saw all this. So the people who wanted to discredit him the most, the best they could do is say magician, because everybody knew he was doing unthinkable things. So who is this man who's doing unthinkable things, claiming that he loves people, saying forgive them for they know not what they do as he's being killed? Like, who is this? And you know what the crazy thing is? The word gospel, and it's so lost in America. People try to have churches for money and they just misuse everything. It's so lost in so many ways. But this is the crazy thing. I only told you the first part of the scripture. Romans 6:23 is the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life in Christ Jesus.
Everlasting life, right?
Yeah. How crazy would it be if heaven was a gift? We're sitting here racking our brains like, yo, I hope I get in. Like, I don't know how. Boom, boom, boom. Like, I know I'm messing up. What can I do? How crazy would it be if this whole time the word gospel means good news? A lot of people don't know that. Go to a gospel singer. What does it mean? They might not even know. It means good news. So the Bible's supposed to give us good news. So it's like, what's the good news? The good news is, bro, God knows every single thing that you've done. You're totally guilty of sin and deserving of hell. That's not my words. That's the Bible. We could get mad at that. But that's what it says. But I look at my heart and my life and it's true. And then It says, but even though you deserve that, man, God loves you that much that he came down and paid for your sins. And guess what? It's a gift. You can take the gift or you can leave the gift, but it's a gift. And the definition of a gift is, if I want to get you a gift, it costs me a lot. It costs you nothing.
Right.
That's a gift. If I tell you, hey, Flo, I'm going to give you a gift, but you got to do a bunch of good things to earn that gift. That's not a gift. That's working for it. That's earning it. Because if I turn around and I say, Flo, I gave you that gift, you'd be like, hold up, what are you talking about, man? I mowed your lawn like every week. Like I paid that off. That's not a gift. I earned it. The Bible says we cannot earn eternal life. We're already guilty. But there's good news. God's like, bro, I love you. And I think about what you said, bro. Like you said you survived the accident. You know what I mean? It's funny how God works. Like, what are the chances, bro? Like, even the way we collab, like you were one of the people I wanted to collab with really badly. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I was like, I'm looking at your style. You're like amazing. Boom. You know how we collab, bro? I don't even know how you saw my post, bro. I
Yeah, I
literally,
like your post. Yeah.
yeah, I literally been praying for different people to work with. But my greatest hope, man, I want people to know how much you love them, God, because it blew my mind and changed my life. And bro, you commented on my thing. And I was like, is this a what the heck? And then I messaged you. And then you were like, yo, bro, we could get on. It was so unreal because, bro, you didn't even charge me for the first joint. You know what I'm saying? Like I had to like push it. You know what I mean? Like it was like, bro, you were just like, let's do it. You sent me the video of saying rap is a martial art because I was like, there's no way this dude is just like, yeah, let's just do it. That's how it came about. But bro, I believe in the depths of my motives, regardless of how you're reacting in this in your head, that when you pass away and you see God, you'll remember this back way that God got to you to be like, yo, I didn't just protect you from that crash so you could live and have a cool career. I protected you. And I used this random dude who likes rap flows and other things in your life to say, I love you. And I don't want you just to love me from afar. I want you to know who I am. And I want you to know the specifics of what I've done for you. You know what I'm saying? And the scripture says it's a gift. So I always tell people this is between you and God, right? But I always tell people it's as simple as saying yes to a proposal. Like, you know how you propose to a girl and she says yes, right? Like you bought the ring, you saved, you bought the ring, and all she got to do is say yes. And with Jesus, it's the same way, bro. And so I just leave that with you on your heart, on your mind, man, where it's like, I don't care what people are saying in culture. What? It's like, yo, forget y'all. I'm trying to go to heaven. I want to know God. I want to love God. I want to be with God. There's only one God who loved me so much to do that for me. I think about martial arts and I think about martial arts masters. And it's like everything I had to do was I had to earn my martial arts master's love. Right? I got to get better. I got to do this. I got to earn it. Right? This is a master of the universe. And instead of me having to earn it, he died for me. What the heck? That's not even a human story. Like, what the heck is that? And the scripture says we're one conversation away from that gift of eternal life. And once you take that gift, nothing can take it away. That's the beauty of the gift. It says your name is written in the Lamb's book of life. And he says to take the gift. I don't even like churchy words. I didn't grow up in the church, and they really bother me because people misuse them so much. But the scriptures say, repent and believe. That means once you realize that you're guilty and that there's nothing you can do, you go to God in conversation. You're like, God, I'm guilty. I'm humbling myself. Like, I'm guilty. I know there's nothing I can do to get this gift, but I believe what you did, that you died on the cross for me. And on the third day, you rose again to prove who you were. Like, I want that gift of eternal life. And I want to give you my soul. I don't want to take my soul. I'm going to fumble that joint because I'm never going to be perfect here. I'm going to fumble it. I don't want to take, I want to give you my soul. So help me to follow you. That's what the scripture says, bro. And so, you know, I was getting on today and I'm like, what's the point, man, of having love for somebody as an artist? But because of God's impact in my life, I'll be loving people even when I don't know them, you know? But it's like, what's the point of having a dope conversation and not saying the most important thing? So I know this is an unconventional thing, but I'm like, what's the point, man? So, okay, cool. You got to talk to him, but bro, you didn't share the most important thing. So how much love do you really have for a person? Like, I can't force you to believe nothing, But I could tell you, bro, I know we all starving out here, and there's bread. There's spiritual bread here, and the joint does not fade. And now when God does something good in my life or something bad happens, I'm like, yo, you took the knife to the throat from me. I trust you. I love you. Whatever we got to do, God, it don't matter. Like, I love you. You say to do this. Like, the only reason why I would obey a God over myself is if I knew that that God loved me more than me.
Yeah, that makes complete sense.
If you love me more than me, I can listen to what you say. If you don't, I'm not listening to you. So why would you listen to a God who has not shown that he loves you more than you love yourself? And in Christ is the place that I see that is like, wow, what? And if you take nothing else from it, bro, two things I always tell people to say is think about Russell, like, are you guilty? Is that true? And can good things actually get you out of it? That's one, because the scripture says we're guilty and good things don't get us out of it. The other thing is to let your mind be blown by the level of God's love for you, if it's true. That he's not a God you got to pretend and hide it from. He's like, I know everything you've done, and I paid for every single little thing. It wasn't the physical death that was so bad. Other people died on crosses. It's the spiritual weight of every lie, everything ever told, so that God could give us a gift and an offering and be like, guys, I love you. You're not getting up here this way. I'm not allowing evil in a perfectly good place. I got to wash away your evil. I got to pay for that. Your case has to be dismissed to come in here. And that's why Jesus came, to dismiss our case. Like, oh, James Gutierrez, oh, wait, they're paid for. It's like a ticket. You go to the government and your friend paid your ticket for you. It's like, oh, it's already paid. You're good, sir. What? No, you're good. It's already paid. And your sin is already paid. The question is, do you want that gift or not? You know what I mean? That's what the scriptures say.
Right.
And I'm not asking you that now, but my question is, bro, like, how do you process that? Like, what do you personally for you, I'm just curious, like, how do you process that? Because for me, it's like, whoa.
I sit back and listen.
Yeah.
That's all you can do. Sit back and listen and then take the information.
Yeah. So that's, I just encourage you, bro. Like, when we were talking and, when you realize like the judge was in the seat, like, and you were like, wow.
Yeah.
And that's the point. That's the point of the whole thing, is like, we can imagine maybe a mother doing that loves us like crazy, taking our place. But the crazy thing of the story is, like, we totally deserve it. And, God has no reason to do that. I always tell people, if I drew a drawing right now and somehow it spat at me, I would just rip the drawing off.
Right.
I'll just rip the drawing. There's no drama. I'm not becoming a drawing, jumping into the drawing, dying for the drawing so I can pull the drawing out. Nah, what? You spit at me, you're done. But that's not God. That's not God, bro. So I just want to encourage you, like, he infinitely values you. And he didn't just say it. He showed it. And if your mom showed it, shouldn't the God of the universe show it more than anybody else? I don't think there's a person on earth that you should be able to look at and say, that person showed me more love more clearly than the God of the universe,
Right.
So yeah, bro, I appreciate you, man. I don't know if you have any other, I know this is like super deep, any other artistic thoughts or anything before we leave, but I just wanted to, from my heart, man, as a way to show you love, share what's most important, in my life. And if it can encourage you, cool.
Hey, thanks, man. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, man. Anything, man, before we bounce, man, any other thoughts or anything else, or what projects, man, what projects you got coming out, or what things you got coming down the line? Like, what are you doing these days?
I've been working on my debut album for almost 6 years now.
And
it's in the mixing stages. So we're getting there, which is good.
Wow,
it's coming sooner than we think. So that's good. And then my plan is I'm going to drop the album, tour for a good year, something like that, tour off of that. And then I'm going to relax. I'm going to make movies, man. I write screenplays. I write scripts. So I'm going for it. I think I'm confident enough to say I can put my first movie, I can go into production in 2 years.
That's awesome, bro.
Yeah, so that's what I'm working on is the debut album, writing some scripts, and that's the game plan right now, you know.
Well, if you need somebody to star as Billy Blanks, you already know, bro. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna make a Billy Blanks bio. You gotta
Right,
be
right.
Billy Blanks.
Billy Blanks. But no, I love movies as well. So I'm actually working on some stuff too. So that's awesome, man. And please tell people, man, how they can find you, on social media and your music, all that.
On YouTube and Bandcamp, it's Afro with the dashes, just
Mm,
Afro with the dashes, and my Instagram is All Flows Official. All Flows Official. Yep, there you
mm,
go. And my Twitter is Real Fro Thizzle, which is two Z's, Thizzle,
mm.
like Snoop say shizzle, nizzle, thizzle. Yeah,
Yeah,
Fro Thizzle.
for
And
Thizzle.
yeah, yeah.
Yo, hey, we're so thankful for you, man. Everybody, please look out for this album. I'm super excited about it. I'll be sharing it as well, man. So, thank you for all your hard work. Thank you for your contribution to the world, man. Your artistry, your
Thank you, brother.
contribution, even to me personally as an artist. I'm very thankful, man, for that hard work. So, thank you, and I wish I could, thank your mom for the way she took care of you, so many other people could benefit. You know what I'm saying? But I'll thank God for bringing her into your life. And man, also, like I said at the beginning, want to thank our sponsor. Here we go. Boom, producer put it up. Rap is a martial art store is sponsoring this. And so if you want any hip hop and martial arts related gear, man, check out our fashion. Discount code is kick 15, and you can get 15% off. Fro, before we go, I want to see if you recognize who this character is by any chance. If you've ever seen this
Yeah,
character.
Pai Meng, or what's his name?
Oh
Pai
yeah,
Pai
Pai
Mei, Pai
Mei.
Mei, Pai Mei. There we go. Yeah.
Slow clap for the martial arts reference. So we even got a blue camo Pai Mei thing, man. So man, cop it if you like it. But man, thank you so much, man. One of the greatest lyricists of our time right now, man. So big up.
Bless you, brother.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
Much love, brother. We appreciate your time, dude. And think about that, man. Please don't let what I said just fall off your brain. Think about it, wrestle with it, bro. Because ultimately, I want to see you in the best place possible.
Yeah, I hear you, man. That's a lot of intake, but yeah, it's something you don't just discard. You just think about it, let it
Yeah,
wash around in your brain a little bit. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And you got my number, so anytime you want to rap, I'm here, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But yeah, thanks for having me, man. Thanks for having me. It was a crazy talk. And then when I mean crazy, it's a really deep talk. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. All right, brother. Much love, man. My bad. I forgot to check me out at Rap is a Martial Art for everything. Bandcamp is Rap is a Martial Art. YouTube Rap is a Martial Art. Instagram Rap is a Martial Art. So thank you guys, man. And rap is a martial art.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a good
Peace.
one. Thanks for having me.